Hello, my name is Ricky Kane, and I would like to give a review of my experience on Norwegian Air when I flew from JFK Airport on May 16th to Oslo on May 17th. I can tell you, what happened was nothing of the sort of Norwegian Air's fault, or was it on my fault, but on the situation that had occurred when I had landed from Michigan going into LaGuardia Airport. To start, in a basic sense, I left my place in that at about noon, and I had decided to take a flight at about 3:45 to 4 to LaGuardia via Spirit Airlines. I got there on time with one hitch. When we landed, and that Donald Trump had came in to land at JFK Airport, and the Spirit Airlines people on the plane was like, well, we got some congestion, things are going a little slow, etc., etc. So, in the biggest thing that many should know is you should always get to your flight 2 to 3 hours early, if not possibly 4 or earlier, and that for your flight, whether it's international or domestic. So what happens is we're waiting to deboard from one flight. Then what happens is I started waiting in LaGuardia for the moment in 2019. I'm not sure how long they've had this going on, but they have this aisle area and that with tents that's set up for Uber and for Lyft and other rideshare organizations and they have it very micromanaged. Now, I can tell you, I waited about 2 hours for this Uber to pick me up. There was 3 Uber drivers that had canceled, and then finally I got an Uber driver that waited about an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours, in that to pick me up. And it was kind of very arduous. So from 6:40-ish, and that from after landing at about 5:30, and that what happens is I was waiting from 6:49 to at least about let's say about 8:50, 8:54 to be exact, to be picked up. Then there is the trek across from LaGuardia Airport to JFK with traffic and everything else going on. So I got there at about roughly 9:04 p.m., 1 hour before the Norwegian flight at this time. Again, it's an international flight. I can tell you when I went to check in, it had said the prime check-in window has closed. I went to, and this is where Norwegian's support and their staff and their people at the desk were very superb. I immediately asked the person that was with Norwegian, what do I do about this? It's not letting me get my boarding pass. And I had a carry-on and a personal item for such. Now what happens is she immediately guided me over to the premium class and said, we have one for Oslo, and there was another group of people for Stockholm and a few other things. Now, they tried to print my boarding pass. They were unsuccessful maybe the first or second time. Then they finally got it. The next part is going to the TSA security check. So when I got to this point, I saw probably a lineup in JFK, and it goes after like every row. I would say probably 300 people in a row, if not maybe 400. Could be wrong, but it was an estimate. Now, I said to a friend, I said, I don't think I'll make the flight from Oslo to Warsaw and then to where I was going. What happens is someone suggested to me, they suggested, hey, you should talk to one of the people here and have them have you skip ahead, which I did this. Now, what happens is I skipped ahead to the line, to the front of the line with all this mass amount of people. I went through security check, and that within, I would say, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And this is, at time-wise, this is going at about, say, 9:30, 9:40, and that, somewhere in between there. I can't remember exactly. But then I get out of security check, and I hear them page and that, going, hello, we have 2 guests that have not checked in, Ricky Kane and another person. So then I just decided 2 things. I decided to race to the gate on my socks. I didn't put my shoes back on yet. I raced to the gate, which I got there, and I was the last person there. So what happens is this. The Norwegian, I would believe he's the manager, was extraordinarily calm, was extraordinarily helpful, because I was out of breath and sweating and everything, going from one point to almost the far end point in such a fast time. And the next ball dropped, which was, where's my passport and where's my boarding pass? I had my boarding pass to Oslo to Warsaw, which of course proved that I was me, but I couldn't find my passport with the New York to Oslo. I was like, oh crap, I must have forgotten my passport back there. And like, there's another guy, we don't know if he'll make it in time. And probably in between this, the door to the plane closes. Now, what happens is last minute I thought maybe I put it in my other carry-on, and I thought like, and I looked there, and it was there, and I was out of breath. I said, I found it. And the manager and such immediately said, okay, relax, don't worry, we'll contact the pilots in the plane and they won't leave you. So I immediately, they check me and everything else. Then I immediately go down the not the terminal, but the gangplank to the plane. And that, a guy knocks on the door, like doing like this onto the plane door, and that a few times. And after about a minute or 2, they open it, and that, which I apologize profusely, because it's not me to be late, and it's not me to simply like make a whole entire plane wait, because it's my responsibility in this sense. So I apologize profusely, and they apologize back at me that no, we should never have shut the door on you. And everyone was extremely calm, and I was calm too in a different way, but I just felt bad for everyone else. I felt personally responsible. And throughout this experience, I can only say that even though many people will knock the idea of, say, a low fare price or a non-premium price for traveling abroad or traveling international or traveling domestic, people will say that you're not getting your money's worth, which I find this very much not necessarily true, because I believe if you do everything the right way, because there's always an approach and a method to it, the right way. And if you know that you tried your best as the passenger side, I believe that whoever is the employee of an organization or whomever, if they see that you did your best, and that it will always work itself out in some way. And now, me, I had a low fare price, so I would never have gotten refunded. But it took little steps by each employee of Norwegian Air to basically have me hop to the next step and allowed me to not miss my flight while being technically late, but as long as I did my best on my part. And I just believe that that should be very well vouched for the employees of Norwegian. And that, just from my experience, I don't know how many times it happens, but in my case, or how it happened in my situation, but it's a thing that is to be proud of, and among many other things. And I just wanted to highlight this in general. Thank you for your time.